Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to World of Tanks. I'm gonna be here doing a garage review of this thing, which is the Panzer IV Hydro. So the Panzer IV Hydro came into the shop with the Steam Pioneer bundle, which came with this tank and the Easy 2, the M4A3E2. They're both tier 5 medium tanks. It came with 2 garage slots, 3,150 gold plus a bonus of 800, so 3,950 gold. Plus 7 days of premium account, plus 2,200,000 credits, which was a pretty good bundle. And seeing as you get 2 very rare tanks, it's a bargain, really. So here's this thing, the Panzer IV Hydro, and I will be comparing it mostly to this thing, which is the standard Panzer IV in the tech tree. And looking at it, the only real difference is that this thing looks a bit cleaner than this. And this thing has obviously got a different engine. I think these two do. I have got different camos on these two, but I mean, even from the side here, it still looks a bit clean. Still looks cleaner than the standard Panzer IV. I mean, I suppose I could just replace it there. There you go. So there it is from the side there and there. It certainly looks a lot cleaner than this thing. This thing looks a bit dirty around, you know, the edges and things. Looks a bit like mud. From the other side, yeah, still looks cleaner. So this thing looks slightly cleaner than the battered old weary workhorse of the Axis forces known as the Panzer IV. And also this thing has got a slightly different shaped turret. If you look, this thing looks a little bit thinner than the Panzer IV. Panzer IV's got a slightly more squished out turret. This has got a slightly more squished in turret. So, but minor cosmetic differences. So let's have a look at this. So this tank has got a 22% protection, 29% firepower, 49% shot effectiveness, 57% manoeuvrability. So 22, 29, 49, 57. 22, 29, 49, 57. 23, 29, 49, 47. So the Panzer IV Hydro has got slightly less protection, but only by a little bit. It does have less firepower, but it has got better shot effectiveness and better maneuverability. So, what raises the maneuverability? Probably by having the stock turret. Yeah, 48. But so overall, this thing is slightly more maneuverable than the Panzer IV, I think, is the thing here. So, starting up here, let's have a look at protection. It's got 750 HP, which is more than the Panzer IV, which has got 710. 50 frontal hull, 30 side, 20 rear. Front 50, 30, 30 for the turret. Having a look at the Panzer IV here, 80 at the front, 30 sides, 20 rear, 50, 30, 30. So, the reason that this has got 80 at the front is due to this extra welded plate which goes over the front of the Panzer IV. If you have a look, the Panzer IV Hydro does not have that plate, whereas the Panzer IV does. And you can also see here where the holes have been cut for the machine gunner and the driver's viewport. So the Panzer IV does have slightly better survivability from the front due to it having 80 frontal hull rather than the 50 of the standard Panzer IV standard Panzer IV Hydro of the Panzer IV Hydro. So the turrets, yeah, they're the same thickness. The sides and rears of the tank as well are the same thickness. However, yeah, the front of the hull has got this welded plate, which means that it is slightly more durable from the front than the IV Hydro. But then the IV Hydro does have that slightly higher HP. But moving here to maneuverability, so this is the engine that it gets, that the Panzer IV Hydro gets, which is a 440 horsepower Maybach HL120 TRM with a 20% chance of fire and impact. But having a look here, maneuverability, it weighs 25 tons with my equipment setup. I do have these tanks set up with the same equipment to try and make them as even as possible. So it's a 25-ton tank with a 440 horsepower engine, whereas the Panzer IV is a 26 6.6 ton tank with the same HP, with the same horsepower engine. So Panzer IV has got a 48 km per hour speed limit, 32 traverse speed, compared to the Panzer IV Hydro, which has got where are we? Here we go. 48 km per hour speed limit with a 40 hull traverse with a 44 turret traverse. So the turret traverse is the same as the Panzer IV, but the Panzer IV Hydro does have a much better hull traverse speed of 40 compared to 32. So that does mean that this thing is slightly more mobile due to the higher traverse speed. It doesn't say power to weight, unfortunately, but yeah. So yep, there's the turret. They're the same turret basically. I mean, this has got the Panzer IV Hydro Stashlia. I don't know, but that's got 230 meters view range. This thing has got the Panzer IV Alpha H, which has got 240 meters. So the Panzer IV does have 10 meters more view range than the Panzer IV Hydro, but then that's only 10 meters. It's nothing really amazing. But there you go. There's the suspension for the Panzer IV Hydro, and yeah, as you can see, the Panzer IV Hydro does have a smaller drive wheel at the rear here, or well, a smaller idler wheel, as it is. Because I believe the Panzer IV Hydro, because most tanks have got the drive wheel at the front, such as the Tiger. That's the drive wheel. That's the cog at the front of the tank, which is why you've got on basically every tank, you've got the well, on most World War II tanks, that's why you've got the, what is it? Transmission at the front instead of at the rear. I used to think it was at the rear, like years ago I used to think it was at the rear due to the fact that that's where the engine is. But no, that's why you've got the drive shaft up to the front with the transmission at the front. So I can only guess that the Panzer IV Hydro has got the same sort of thing, where that's the drive wheel, that's the idler, due to the fact that this doesn't have a particularly big cog at the back. But yeah, you can see that there is a minor difference between the look of the rear idler wheel of the Panzer IV Hydro, and of course you've got the lack of a exhaust pipe on the Panzer IV Hydro due to the fact that it is a hydroelectric engine. It's designed to run on water and electricity, rather than petrol like the Panzer IV, or diesel, depends on what tank you're looking at. But yeah, that's why you have these big vents to cool down the hydroelectric power engine source thing. But now we've had a look at everything else, let's have a look at the gun. So this is the gun, a Kampfwagenkanone 40L48, which is the same as this gun. Yep, Kampfwagenkanone 40L48. So let's have a look at the Hydro here. So the Hydro gets 7.46 rate of fire rounds per minute, the same 110 average pen with APCR 158, high explosive 20, the same 160 damage with armor piercing, or 200 with high explosive, 0.39 accuracy, 0.23 aiming time, and weighs 500 kilograms. The Panzer IV has got a 7.46, again the same. It's got the same 110 armor piercing, 158 APCR, 38 with high explosive, however. So it does have slightly more high explosive penetration with the 75. The same average damage, same 0.39 accuracy, the same 2.5 second aim time, but this one weighs 1,520 kilograms for some reason compared to the, what is it, 500 kilograms of the Panzer IV Hydro. Don't know why, because the only difference between these two guns is the fact that this one has got less high explosive penetration, but then it's high explosive at tier 5 for a 75mm gun. It does nothing. So yeah, so high explosive is basically even more useless on this tank than it is on this tank. But hey, so those are the basic stats. Yeah, there's the basics of it. But yeah, so those are the basic stats of the two tanks. So they're both fairly evenly placed, apart from this one does have slightly more This tank has got slightly better manoeuvrability but less frontal hull armour. This tank's got less manoeuvrability but better frontal hull armour. That's really the main difference. Plus this has got more high explosive penetration by 18mm, but that really doesn't play to anything. So I have set up these two tanks the same. Panzer IV, gun rammer, improved vents, additional grousers. Panzer IV Hydro, gun rammer, improved vents, additional grousers. I've set them up the same because they're effectively the same sort of tank. Whoops, that fell. But they both carry 87 rounds of ammunition in their hulls due to the fact that they're the same tank, basically. The provisions are going to be the same for the Panzer IV and the Panzer IV Hydro. So standard fuel or improved fuel for +3 or +10% to engine power and turret reverse speed respectively. Activated automatically permanent throughout a battle. Then you've got a chocolate bar or just chocolate, which adds +3 or +10 to crew mastery respectively. Activated automatically permanent throughout a battle, restricted to German vehicles. Then you got protective kit, plus 15% protection of the crew from injuries, 10% to speed of module repair, 20% to fire protection, and 10% to ammo and fuel tank durability. Once again, active throughout a battle and permanently. So you can go ahead and load up provisions if you want. I tend to not load up provisions. I just don't really like loading up provisions. But now we come to consumables, and anyone that's watched any of my World of Tanks Blitz reviews will know exactly what I'm about to say here, but if you haven't, then you've got the repair kit, which repairs all damaged modules with a cooldown of 90 seconds, multiple use as a battle. Then you've got the first aid kit, which heals all crew members and no automatic fire extinguisher, that have all got the same 90-second cooldown. Then you've also got the engine power boost, plus 20% to engine power for 15 seconds with a 75-second cooldown, once again multiple uses. Then you've got adrenaline, plus 20% to load speed, 10% chance of damaging an enemy module, 15-second durability, 15-second duration, and 75-second cooldown. Then you've also got this thing, which is basically these three rolled into one. It extinguishes fire, repairs all damaged modules, and heals all crew members with a cooldown of 90 seconds, multiple uses per battle. And sure, if you've got, say, an injured driver and a destroyed track and you need to get out of there, then you can use it and heal up everyone. However, say, for example, you're driving along and your track gets destroyed. And you can't sit there, you're out in the open, you have to move. So you use your multi-purpose restoration pack to repair your track. And say you also have these two things loaded. So you've got one of this, and one of this. So you use this to repair your track. So you were stuck in the open, your track's been destroyed, you need to repair it. So you use the multi-purpose restoration pack. You now have a 90-second cooldown before you can use it again. Say that 10 seconds later, another shot hits you, and you get set on fire. What do? These two don't put out fires. This thing does. However, you've used this to repair your track. You're going to burn and suffer a lot of damage, which is why I always go with the standard 3 consumables. Even though it may use up all 3 slots, I would probably forget I have these things anyway. So I prefer to go with the 3 default things. It's up to you whether or not you want to use these 2 things and just have 1 or 2 of these. I mean, up to you, but I prefer to have the 3 individual ones. And as for the crew, it came with 100% crew. The crew in World of Tanks Blitz, you can't really say anything because there is no individual crew skills, it's only crew skills for that vehicle type. Since this is a medium tank, you can choose to use whatever one you want. So you can choose to train Rage, which accelerates gun loading by 1%. I've got it to tier 2, so it's 2%, but default it would be 1. It accelerates gun loading by 1% for the next shot after you destroy an enemy vehicle. Then you've got Penetration Boost, which provides a 1% chance to score a hit with increased armour penetration. So yeah, you've got various levels for it. Then you've got Mentor, which increases crew XP earned by 1%. Then you've got Smooth Ride, which decreases gun dispersion by 1% when firing on the move. Then you also have Smooth Turret Reverse, which decreases gun dispersion by 2% during turret reverse. So that's effectively Snapshot, would be the PC equivalent. And then you've got the same thing. So it's all up to what you're training right now. I mean, I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't train for this tank because you don't have individual crews. You only have a single crew for that vehicle, and crew is shared throughout, everything. So I've got various amounts of medium tanks. So every medium tank that I play in would be training smooth ride, because that's what I'm training right now. So I mean, you can't really say anything about the crew skills in Modern Tanks Blitz. So yeah, there's that. So overall, it's a very rare tank, the Panzer IV Hydro, and I do like it. It's a nice little tank. I mean, the extra manoeuvrability, you can definitely feel it when you compare it next to a Panzer IV. So I mean, this tank is definitely a very fun tank, and it is good. I mean, the extra manoeuvrability is definitely helpful, plus you have basically the same gun as the Panzer IV, so it can do everything the Panzer IV can do, but better. And whilst this tank doesn't have the 80mm of frontal hull, it does have extra HP to make up for that, but then only 40 doesn't really help, but oh well. So overall, this is a very nice tank, a very good medium tank, and definitely something for you to get to your garage, because A, it's a rare tank, and B, it's also pretty good. So I will thank you for watching, and goodbye.